Welcome back to part 2 of our informative 2-part series of Sure Concerns That Matter, the challenges of immigrant language and cultural differences. In this episode, we will be joined by Miss Jessica Ferreira Imhoff, the multilingual families coordinator for the Wicomico County Public Schools, and Reverend Roosevelt Toussaint, the executive director for the Haitian Development Center of Delmarva. The Haitian Development Center of Delmarva supports the Haitian community here on the Eastern Shore through education, case management, interpretation, translation, and after-school programs. Rebirth is another support organization that provides government aid, healthcare services, food, and after-school activities to Haitian immigrants residing here in Salisbury. For us to get a first-hand view, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our viewers to Reverend Roosevelt Toussaint.
Thank you.
Executive Director of the new Haitian Development Resource Center of Delmarva, home-based here
Amen.
in Salisbury, Maryland.
Yes.
For those of you that don't know, Reverend Toussaint has been an active advocate and a strong supporter for the Haitian community for a very long time. Welcome to Education is Everybody's Business.
Yes.
Now, for those of you that don't know you, and there are a lot of people that do,
Yeah.
okay, please give us a little background on your roots and how you have taken on the role of not only a church minister, but now a community organizer for the Haitian community here on the Eastern Shore. And may I say Delmarva Peninsula?
Delmarva Peninsula.
Yes, beyond just the Eastern Shore.
That's right. You're absolutely correct. Yes, first of all, I want to thank you. Thank you for the invitation. I mean, to be a part of this great show.
Yes.
And I'm so happy to be your invitee today.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Yeah, thank
Our
you. Well,
pleasure.
to tell you the truth, my life in itself is a miracle. A miracle.
Mm-hmm.
Then happen to be in this area is not a miracle.
Right.
From Haiti, one of the poorest country in the world, and to be able to come to the richest country of the world and to be stationed in the Delmarva Peninsula. So this is a miracle.
Wow.
And I would ask, how did that happen? But my belief is that even before the foundation of the world, God saw this place. God saw the Delmarva Peninsula. God saw the Haitian moving in this area. Then he said to himself, I'm going to create a Reverend Roosevelt Toussaint. I'm going to use him to make a difference in the lives of Haitians in this area. So that's the way I see myself.
And
so,
that you have done.
Yeah. So my life was preordained of God. I wasn't really born by accident, although I was born in the poorest country. Although I was born out of wedlock. But it doesn't matter. God decided to bring me here to show that whenever he has a plan for somebody, he is able to fulfill it, as long as the person understands that he was creating for such a plan. So that's how I can explain my life.
So what do you see right now as some of the major challenges facing the Haitian immigrants as they migrate here and become part of the working class in our shore-based industries, and that they are.
Yes. Well, one of the major challenges that we are facing within the Haitian community is the first one is the language barrier. Now, believe you me, a lot of Haitians, they are very educated. They are smart people. Some of them are doctors, some of them are lawyers, some of them are great educators. But because of the language barrier, they find it very difficult for them to find employment. Because, you know, employment is a necessity. But if you are not able to speak the language, then you know it's going to present a challenge for you. But this is our major challenge in this area. Then the other challenge is I said the language barrier is to find employment. Then is to be able to feel accepted, not only from the outside, because when not too many people really we are ready to embrace a new group of people just coming into this area. They do not understand our culture. They do not understand our way of life. Sometimes there is a mistrust that we encountered from them. And on the other way around, our people feel like they're not welcome. Because of that, they find themselves very seclusive. They kind of refrain themselves from participating, we see, in this great culture. So that's why, in addition to teach them the language, in addition to provide training for them to find better jobs, we want also to infiltrate in them that you have so much to offer. Don't belittle yourself.
Exactly.
Because you were created by the great creator. The reason you are here is because you have something to offer. And we have so much to offer. We have a great culture. I don't know, you have tasted our food. We have a good tasted food. We have beautiful music. I don't know whether you have participated in our compa. In our culture, we have a great music everybody will like. And that's what I tell them, guys, don't belittle yourself. You have so much to offer. Just thrive to better yourself by equipping yourself with the language, and do not do anything negative to show people, to give them excuse to exclude you in this beautiful way of life. So I let them do the best that you can, so because you have so much to offer. Time will not really allow me. When I first came into this area, I didn't feel welcome because I have an accent. Everywhere I go looking for a job, I have no job for you. You have an accent. I have to convince them. I said, I am a tailor. I am a professional tailor. Just give me a chance. I'll show you what I can do. But at first, as soon as I open my mouth, no, you're not over here. You're not from over here. In other words, my accent, it put a stain on them. I must be illiterate. I must be a dumb guy because I have an accent. You see? But do you know what? God turned things around. I had nothing to do with that. God turned things around where at the moment, God used me as a conduit, as a channel. Not only to connect the Haitian people to the greater community, and I'm also a bridge. A communication, a bridge to connect.
Yes.
And that's what God did. And I'm so appreciative of that.
You're a welcoming force.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, you are.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. And the new center that you have developed is big.
Yes.
And it can encompass so many resource activities.
Yes.
For those that have been here for a while, and for the new ones as well.
Yeah, and as you know, we in your introduction, you said that the center is involved in education. We are involved in case management. We are involved in interpretation and translation. We also involved in ESL classes, ESL education. We have our coordinator. His name is Antoine Laguerre. I mean, he's very much engaged, not only of teaching the people the language. I mean, try to make sure that he wants to really challenge them to speak that language. He tells them that we got to open your mouth. Don't just take notes, but take the notes and put it in your mouth, because you need to excel. Whenever you enter a country, the first thing we need to learn is the language. Once you learn the language, see now, most doors are open for you. So not only he's doing that, he tried to connect them with a lot of organization to come to the center to provide training for them, health training, job training, cultural training. You just name it.
Right.
And I'm so excited to see what is going on at the moment in the Haitian community. And one thing about it, we are not lazy.
Yeah.
We are just looking for opportunities.
I love it.
Give us an opportunities. Open a door for us. We're not going to disappoint you. We're going to make sure that we make the best out of it. This is the kind of people that we are.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And to be honest with you, we've shared on this show that immigration is a part of America's fabric.
Yeah.
This is how this country has come about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Immigrants have come to this country and have become a critical piece of that.
Yes.
And language has always been an initial barrier, but we get beyond that.
Yes.
And we see the mixing, if you will, of cultures.
And it really, it breaks my heart to see how we Haitians have been suffered, persecuted.
Yes.
Some of us who comes over here, it's not because we wanted to, but we are forced to. We have been forced to leave our country because of leaders who do not understand the responsibility how to lead a country. We do not have love of country. So we have been pushed out. Had we stayed in Haiti at the moment, we would not have been alive. People are running for their lives. You see, the thieves and gangs have taken over the country because we have government leaders who do not understand their role as leader. So they're after their own pockets, after the money. Then, and the essence or the cream, the important parts of our country are living. Our young people are living. So if we have young people who are so passionate about life, about education, then all of a sudden, because of persecution, they are moving away. There's no future for our country.
Right.
No future.
Right.
So that's what we envision, although we are away from home. But if we can really impart some important principles in our young people, let them know that, yes, the way it is now, it is not the best. It is not what we were expecting. But prepare yourself. You can make a difference.
Yes.
I may not live to see it, but believe in yourself. You can be equipped. You can be prepared to make a difference. To make a difference. So this is my hope. So that's why we are investing in our young people. We have Brighten Future after school program. We try to infiltrate in them the importance of education. When you go to school, do not try to act like those who have no purpose in life. We need to model yourself on those who see, who are learning, who are making a difference, because there is a reason why you are here. Not to waste time, but to prepare your life, to prepare yourself for a better future. So that's why we try. That's why we try to infiltrate in them.
Yes.
And we are doing a good job, because when they came to us, they had some very low grade. Their grade point average was below 2, a 1.5. Now most of them have been able to raise their grade point average to 3 and better.
There you go.
So we are so encouraged because organizations like Purdue, organizations like the Henson Foundation, organization like the community foundation of the Eastern Shore, they understand the importance of organizations like ours. They have invested in us. So that's why we are doing our very best to spend that money very wisely to make a difference in our community.
And we're beginning to see that already.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It is unbelievable.
Thank you.
Okay, how you've become a regional workforce.
Thank you.
Okay, and it's just wonderful. Our co-host, Dr. Stiegler, has already mentioned how he has observed over the years the number of Haitian students that have now enrolled into the university level. And we're talking about 2-3 generations. With a third generation, they're coming out with doctorate degrees. They're going into the medical field. They're becoming part of our medical healthcare force, if you will, along with lawyers.
Yes.
Okay, and business owners.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so we're beginning to see this evolution, if you will, and you're becoming an integral part
Yes.
of the Eastern Shore community.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Now, we, our co-host, Brian Stiegler, Dr. Stiegler and I, we noted in this show that language and cultural differences are challenges to acceptance and understanding for both the locals, born and raised here, or native born, if you will, as well as the new and the foreign born. So, do you have any suggestions, having worked on the front line, do you have any suggestions for how some of these challenges can be overcome? And you may already be instituting some of these things.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Carson. This is a very good question. We are experiencing that right now because we have two group of people. We have the older generation and the younger generation. The older generation speak very little English, and the younger generation speak very little Creole. Then we have to minister to both of them, especially at my church. So we, first of all, we try to let the older generation, the younger generation know, you need to speak Creole. This is part of your heritage. This is part of your culture. See, that's who you are. Although you were born over here, but this is a great advantage if you are able to speak two languages.
Yes.
We can speak English, we can speak Creole.
Yes.
And we are also encouraging the older generation to speak English.
Yes.
Because I do not want them to always be a liability.
Right.
You may ask, how can they be a liability? They have become a liability because whenever they go to the doctor have to use an interpreter to interpret for them. That can be done really on a temporary basis. But if you're going to live here a long time, you have an obligation to speak that language. So we are trying to overcome those challenges, the differences, by encouraging them.
Good.
To learn the language.
Yes.
Okay? The younger generation learn to speak Creole.
Yes.
The older generation learn to speak English. And that's why we're doing our very best to teach them ESL, to make sure that they master the language. That, to me, that's the only way we can overcome it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Overcome it. Let them know the necessity, the importance, okay, of languages.
Yes. I just can't thank you enough
For
for you taking the time to be a part of this wonderful, wonderful show.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where we talk about the importance of education.
Yes.
And workforce development.
Thank you, and thank you for the invitation. It was my pleasure to be part of this great show.
Okay.
I'm looking forward. To hear more about it, and I would tell people about it. Yeah.
Please do so.
Thank you.
All right. Lastly, there is an expressed interest in the role of education and immigration here locally. And I have asked a frontline educator to share a public school viewpoint on the integration of immigrant children within our school system. It is my pleasure to introduce all of our viewers to Miss Jessica Ferreira Imhoff, Multilingual Families Coordinator for the Wicomico County Public Schools. Welcome.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. So let's get right into it.
All right?
Considering the significant increase of multilingual and non-English speaking students in our Eastern Shore Public Schools, what do you see as the major challenges facing immigrant parents as their children enroll and blend into English-speaking classrooms? That's a sensitive issue.
It is. It is a sensitive issue.
Uh-huh.
And it is a reality for many of our students in Wicomico County. And what I would say is that resettlement as a whole is a challenge. And then within that, definitely, first and foremost, the language barrier certainly presents the biggest and most consistent challenge for parents and for students. But the students are immersed in the environment where they are just rapidly, picking up and just saturated. And so that process for them of language acquisition is a lot faster. So for parents, the language barrier is, I think, the obvious answer. Second to that is a working understanding of the framework of our education system, which is a component, certainly, of cultural literacy. So just the general process, ranging from enrollment to the schedule of the school day, to roles within the school, like principal, assistant principal, guidance counselor, community school coordinator. So just the different working parts that make up our system of education are a lot of times not within their scope of experience. So that certainly poses a challenge. And additionally, factors, sort of surrounding factors like transportation, those are more the general, not limited to once they arrive and are enrolling, but just getting to where they need to be and knowing where that is, certainly also poses a huge challenge. And then I would also say within the process and the system, the attendance piece, navigating that, and just the general unfamiliarity of people and connections to make it easier.
Yeah.
And so I always work from a space of who would I want my child to meet if they were resettling? Who would I want someone I love to be met by on the other side? And what would I want them to consider? What would I want them to know, to do, and to see? And so that's where probably the most profound challenge is building trust. Because once the trust factor is there, then there's a certain sense of confidence that certainly doesn't make everything easy, by no means. But there's at least an anchor.
I like that perspective. Trust is so critical. And I can just imagine myself, for example, going to a foreign country and having to blend in, okay? And the factors that you mentioned would be the same things that I would be concerned about if my children, okay, had to go to a school in a different country, speaking a different language. And then you got the dialects and those things, depending upon whether they're from the northern part of the country or the southern part of the country. These are major concerns.
They are. And one thing I have to say and want to say about Wicomico County Public Schools, and I can only really speak to post-COVID return. That's when I came in this position. I've certainly been in and out of different employment spaces and connected to the schools, but I have to say that language equity has really been a space that Wicomico County has been intentional in growing, and in a really thoughtful, comprehensive, quality way. In different aspects, like in the in-person interpretation and translation services that we offer, and then also in onboarding Language Line, which is a wonderful program that permits every school to access an interpreter in any language at any time, and parents too. And so that has been, the rise of technology, but also our translation, which when I say that, I mean the written messaging that we put out. Our written messaging goes out in our top two languages, which are Spanish and Haitian Creole. Actually, I'll reverse that. It is now Haitian Creole and Spanish.
Wow.
And so that has certainly been a space of growth in such a positive, positive way that is necessary to meet the needs of our growing community.
That's phenomenal. That's great, which leads me into my second question, which I think we need to consider. Because on the flip side, what have you observed as current barriers for students and teachers who want to communicate with and relate to their multilingual classmates or students in terms of welcoming them into the schools, okay, learning from their culture, maybe even learning parts of the language and embracing them, if you will, as classmates and as new students?
Sure, yes, absolutely. And certainly our teachers and staff all over the county are doing a great job of facing those challenges that are definitely real. So I would say that language barrier, I don't want to dismiss that and leave it unsaid, because that is critical. It's the easiest way. And so when that isn't there, we have to get creative, and then also look at, it's important to reflect on, well, why am I not, obviously language, but why am I feeling nervous or hesitant, to approach, which is, I think what I'll say is what I have seen and experienced myself. We don't know what we don't know.
Right.
And a lot of times, what isn't familiar, who doesn't talk like us, who doesn't look like us, what doesn't sound like us, and has just been a space of complete unfamiliarity. There is a hesitation and an overwhelm in thinking about sort of the curiosity, maybe that you're feeling, but then feeling standoffish because you're not sure how to approach. So I think that part is very real for our students, as they're, there's a lot informing them right now. So, and just like us, our backgrounds certainly inform the way that we meet what is other, right? And so I think, the kids are really negotiating that right now. So that is definitely one aspect of it. And then also I want to say for the teachers, the language barrier is something that's able to be mediated, certainly. But sometimes the schedules of the parents, I'll speak to the teacher parent.
Yes.
They're very challenging. And I want to make it a point to say this. What we see most often is not that there isn't a desire on behalf of the teacher to connect, not that there isn't a desire on behalf of the parent to connect. And their work schedules, given the type of employment that they most organically land in upon resettlement, are incredibly demanding. Night shifts, long shifts, very, very limited, a lot of limitations around time they can take without facing consequences of that, whether it's unpaid time or whatever. So the alignment of schedules is certainly a thing, and access to technology and technology literacy can sometimes make that connection piece challenging for our teachers, because we're working with a lot of families who I know it's easy to look, and it does appear most have phones. And I will say most do, but for our traditional newcomer, which means they have just arrived, there are certainly plenty of examples where they don't come with a phone.
Right.
They don't have an email address.
Yeah. Wow.
Anywhere.
Wow.
So that piece becomes then, a space that we help to progress. And then the connection becomes easier. But certainly those factors definitely are ones that with our staff are very real. So there's definitely a desire to connect, and with our students, the general shyness and our multilingual kids are just like our United States kids.
Right.
They're all going through that awkward moment, right? So just that alone, that is a challenge in general for everybody, certainly impacts them too.
Have you run across any students, for example, who are curious about learning the language, Haitian Creole, for example? There's a big difference between French and Haitian Creole.
Yes, absolutely.
And even when you learn Spanish, okay, depends upon what country you're coming from. Okay, there may be a different dialect in El Salvador than it is in Mexico or Venezuela. And I'm just curious whether or not, with this influx, have you run across any native-born students here who want to take the language, who want to learn the language, just in terms of just simple things like please, thank you, hello, good morning, good evening, okay, how are you today?
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
what's going on, what's happening,
Yeah.
And whether you've seen any of that take place. I'm just kind of curious.
Absolutely. There is a I especially love, in the younger grades, like there's a very sweet reciprocity and expression of satisfaction, when the little ones come in, and thanks to, media outlets of all kinds, they are coming in for sure, and I do think that that is where it's sort of starting for them, you know, in those really early grades. Like, they're coming in with the exposure because they're, you know, tuned in to all of the shows, and then too later, you know, some of the social media things also, but. So that is a really sweet exchange that there's a lot of pride in, you know. So our schools do a good job of really being excited to have that reciprocal moment too. And if you're in our schools, you'll see a lot of signage and things like that that promote and support that notion.
Great.
But for the older kids, I would say I have seen a definite interest in pursuing some bilingual efforts, you know, and there is a lot of interest in offering some opportunities for that in a way that we offer the English language acquisition classes for those who are interested, offering the Haitian Creole classes. And there are already some existing, I believe, Spanish classes that I know Warwick offers, but really getting those in a space of free access. And that's definitely something that is circulating and has a pulse, because there is a desire, and I'll say it as a community, and I've really appreciated that.
Yeah.
I'm working on my Haitian Creole right now.
Oh, you! I want to learn some myself. I really do. And I saw where Salisbury University was actually offering what they call the Tuesday evening Spanish classes for anybody that wanted to kind of come in. And it was mostly conversational Spanish. Okay, and I just thought that was so innovative.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you coming and being a part of this show.
Thank you.
And I wish you much success in this new but so critical role that you are playing in the Wicomico County Schools, and all that you're doing for all of the immigrant families that are coming here to the shore. Thank you. Well, this brings us to a close for episode 2 of our Year 3 season, where we continue to explore and discuss shore concerns that matter. Please tune in as we present our 3rd episode of Shore Concerns That Matter with the topic, Maryland's Blueprint, County Cost, and Taxpayer Commitment. Until then, remember, education is everybody's business.